On today's DNVR Broncos show, we're talking about, did the Broncos fix the offense? And plus, do we feel better, worse, or the same as we did about the Broncos game after having a night to sleep on it? Plus, we've got a little spicy Sean Payton that we're going to hear from. And we've got our guy Todd Davis breaking down the film of the game. What went well? What can the Broncos improve on? We're breaking it down starting now. Do you believe in miracles? Is that what happened yesterday? A miracle, because I think Broncos Country is believing after yesterday, and we're going to break it down, diving into the film on today's DNVR Broncos podcast. We are live from the Toyota Lounge, presented by your local Front Range Toyota stores, and we're presented by Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 over at Bet365 when you sign up to get the offers that you need. We got 2 games tonight, but we're not looking ahead. We are still within that 24-hour rule, and Todd, you know what that means, a little celebration.
Yeah, we still got to enjoy this one. This was the first one of the season, and I think it's a good time to go back, review the film, and just, give yourself a pat on the back a little bit, you know what I'm saying, if you're a Broncos player or a fan, for having faith and believing. We got it done yesterday.
Are wins, when you're not expecting it, sweeter after the fact, or are they all the same?
No, they're a little bit sweeter, because you feel like you came into the building and you proved everybody wrong, proved a lot of us wrong. Every person on ESPN, had the Broncos dead to rights and picked the Bucs to win. So when you go in there and get a win like that, you're like, yeah, everybody can, kiss my, you know what I'm saying? Not the front, but the, and it feels
kiss
good.
My Super Bowl ring, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think that's what they're saying today.
No?
No, they don't have those. It was an awesome game. I guess, I was thinking about it. I picked him 55-0, so I guess I should actually be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah. So that's a shame.
Or you should actually be thanking the Broncos because of a little intimidation that happened for leading you to pick them 55-0 and be the only one to pick the Broncos on this panel.
Yeah. I picked them. I was right. I won. I also got the Panthers right. You guys all picked the Raiders, right?
Yep.
I got the Steelers. Did you guys pick the Chargers?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Falcons didn't pull through for me, but I almost got the clean sweep in our picks this week, which would have been awesome.
Yeah. Well, almost doesn't count in this. You didn't get the clean sweep.
3-1 helps though.
It does. It certainly does. And man, really quick on last night's game. What's it take to get a foul, a penalty called on the Chiefs? Oh my gosh, the guy's hugging him in the end zone. Doesn't even turn his head around to look for the ball. Should have been an easy flag.
Easy. I think the Falcons just aren't paying enough. Arthur's name went up on the, his Ring of Honor, and he forgot to cut the check to the refs that night.
Yep.
I think that's what happened.
I love that he put himself in the Ring of Honor, as he should.
Does he make that decision?
I don't know how their
Organization,
process works, but yeah, essentially he
You
does.
can't be putting yourself
every
in the Ring of
owner
Honor.
eventually goes in as long as you own the team for a good amount of time.
But sometimes they wait until the owner dies or is no longer with the team or something like that. I like that they did it when he was still there to enjoy it.
Yeah, give me my flowers while I'm here.
100%.
I don't know that the owner needs to be in the Ring of Honor. Like, name a stadium after. Like, there's so many bigger things than being in the Ring of Honor. Like, that's why it just feels like being in the Ring of Honor should be kind of like below an owner. Like, the owner should have like the entire team facility named after him. Like,
well, you have both.
Do it all.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Pat Bowlen's in the Ring of Honor.
You can't be putting yourself in your own Ring of Honor. That's weird.
Pat Bowlen's in the Ring of Fame for the Broncos, and he also has the field house named after him.
Yeah,
he deserves more than the field house, honestly. Like, that, it's cool he got the field house, but
his dad had the old, I guess, the current headquarters named after him.
Yeah.
That's the Paul Bolen Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
Headquarters.
There we go.
Do you think it should be called the Greg Penner, the Robson Walton headquarters?
You gotta be really careful when you're naming yourself or naming things after yourself.
You were the one just advocating for that.
You did.
But that's like when you die. Like, eventually, like, everything there should be named after Arthur Blank. Like, if you do a good job, Like Robert Kraft, for example.
What are you saying? You're saying it should be named after him? It shouldn't be named after
I'm
him?
kinda
You're,
lost
as an
right now.
owner,
So
you just
confused.
get. You first of all, nobody should ever be putting themselves in their own ring of anything or Hall of Fame or whatever.
Why not?
I disagree.
You can't do that. Like, it's just such a. You can't
You
put
own it.
yourself
You can
in
do
there.
whatever
It should-
the hell
I mean,
you
you can.
want.
Everybody else is gonna be like, "What's this
they
psychopath
literally
doing?"
own it, and
Yeah.
they help put the team together. They pay money. I mean, it's just like a designer. You got Calvin Klein, Alexander Wayne. Those are all people's names.
Different, but it's like a company.
true.
Like it is.
What's different? He is the
Then putting
CEO of an
yourself-
organization.
Then putting yourself in the Ring of Fame, holding a ceremony for yourself. It's really strange.
Give it to me, baby.
It's strange.
Oh,
No,
give it
no,
to
no.
me.
No,
Yes,
no, no, no.
absolutely.
Yeah.
If I'm putting other men's names on my stadium, hell yeah, I'm gonna be in there too.
Put me in
I'm
there.
gonna be right in the middle of it.
That's terrible.
Okay, so before we dive into this game, I think we finally solved the mystery that has been going around Broncos country the past 18
Was there a
hours
ghost or something?
so. Yeah, the ghost of Tyler Badie, because he is
Oh.
no longer Tyler Badie. There is a video circling around of him pronouncing his name to a reporter when he was asked, "Can you pronounce your name?" This happened 18 months ago, and he said, "It's Tyler Badie. It's not Badie, it's Tyler Badie." But last week, I was told by someone very close to him, he decided to change the name, the way his name is pronounced. It is now Badie. Tyler Badie is the Broncos starting running back, and that's what he shall be called now.
What do
Tyler
you mean he
Badie.
changed his name?
That's
you don't get to
exactly
do
what I
that.
was told.
Okay. Told by who?
His agent.
Really?
Yes.
Like
mean,
over
don't
the
change
phone?
it to Badie.
Or over a phone or through a text?
The what's it called? When the phonetic way over a text.
No offense to Tyler B's agent. I don't trust him to be able to write phonetically. Because I've seen people say, well, it's a French name, and so it should be Badie. So you get the EA in there too. So I could see how that could be a mistake that others would make, and just like it's the A, you know?
Okay, so you're not trusting his agent. Do you trust Sean Payton?
No.
Because this morning Sean Payton
Well, 'cause-
said bidet.
Because he says
so now
says
we got
Valet. And I've heard Valet. I've heard Valet. He says Valet, and he's the only one saying that. That can't be right.
so who are you gonna trust?
Tyler himself.
Well, I haven't been able. I'll talk to him
I
in
know,
West
but that's
Virginia
why I
this
can't
week
call
and
this-
ask
I can't
him,
call
but
this
I don't
solved
know.
yet.
I feel like agents and head coaches, if they're both saying it one way, with all this controversy surrounding it, I think that's probably it.
It's probably. I mean, I wouldn't have changed my name from Badie to Bidet.
David. That'd be
you know what I'm
French.
saying? I think there's
Yeah.
so many. If you're gonna change your name or the pronunciation, go crazy and do Ocho Cinco or
Yeah.
Chosen Anderson. I mean, just go from Badie to toilet cleaning your pride. Like that's
I have maybe one reason why he did that, Todd.
Hmm.
He is here to clean all the disgusting stuff off the Broncos that's been lingering for 9 years. So why not just bring a bidet in to do it?
I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody wants that job, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you wanted to, you could change the way you pronounce Todd to Toad.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You could, and I wouldn't do it.
How would you do last name though? Davis?
Davis.
I mean, you
like
could get
Davis is nice. Davis is nice. That's nice.
You just became wealthier, Todd.
If you ever
Yeah,
become a
Davis.
designer, yeah.
Yeah, Todd
Yeah.
Davis.
Toad Davis?
I'd stick with Todd.
Yeah, I think Todd sounds better.
Todd Davis joining us here on the DNVR Broncos podcast. Henry Chisholm, birthday boy, you hear?
Yes.
Belated birthday 2 days ago. He just gave me the stink eye for bringing up that it's his birthday because he let it fly under the radar that Saturday was his birthday and no one knew until this morning. So happy birthday, you hear? We love you. We hope you had a wonderful birthday and you got to celebrate it with the Broncos win yesterday. And speaking of that win, led by Tyler Bidet.
Oh, I don't think that's right.
Do you guys feel better, worse, or the same about this win since we did the post-game show last night and you got to sleep on it?
I think I feel better about the win. Like after I go back and watch the film, guys are making plays. I don't think mistakes are happening, and I don't think they're falling into good things happening for them. I think they're going out there and physically out competing, the Tampa Bay Bucs, and decided to show up and make plays. Nothing was given to them yesterday, and I felt like they took it. And that's the Broncos we need to be. And to show that they could do that and capable of it, that makes me happy about the rest of the season.
Yeah, I feel about the same. I mean, they played really well. I still have some big questions about the running game, but, it obviously the good far outweighed the bad.
Man, you are not a believer in Tyler Badie right now, from the name pronunciation to what he brings to this running back group. And we were all very high on the win yesterday. I actually feel better about it because I think that Bo played even better than I realized immediately after the game. And at the end of the day, that's what this season's about, finding out if Bo is the guy. Obviously, the first 2 weeks of the season weren't the best, not just for Bo, but the entire offense. And he made the entire offense look amazing yesterday. And I want to dive into the offense. Have the Broncos fixed it? Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, I have a quick question. Yesterday after the game, Baker didn't say this word for word, but what he was saying pretty much said this was a trap game for us. And the Broncos, he credited the Broncos, said they came out, and when you overlook an opponent and they come out and punch you in the mouth, you have to wake up from it right away, and we did not. And he said they handed it to us. He said a word that I actually can't say on here, but he said they kicked us, and they beat us up, and credit to them, they did it on all sides of the ball. Is that, one, do you think that's what happened? And two, is that insulting that they viewed the Broncos as a trap game?
No, I don't think it's insulting. I think that's his honest opinion that they overlooked them. Now, I don't know if them at their best still would have been a match for the Broncos yesterday, but I think he's being honest when saying they were flat and they weren't their best. But nevertheless, nobody asked you to show up like that. That was your choice, and you had to show up to play. So regardless, the Broncos got a win and got the dub. And I think even if the Bucs were playing their style of football and playing at a really high level, the type of energy that the Broncos brought yesterday, I don't think they could have matched no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a trap game for them. Like, it's the definite, you have an 0-2 team coming in. I don't know. I mean, things happen in the NFL. The difference between one team and another really isn't that big. I guess now we can even include the Panthers. Like, you take the Panthers at the bottom, and who's the best team right now? Let's not say the Chiefs. Can we pick another?
Played last night.
No, not the Cowboys. Okay, well, the Panthers.
Vikings.
The Vikings. That doesn't really prove. Okay, the point is, even the Panthers could beat the Vikings if they get 5 tries at it. Like, sometimes the team that isn't as good wins, and I don't think that's what happened yesterday. But it's
the
NFL.
You think the Panthers beat the Chiefs if they get 5 tries at it?
Yeah, which would make it sound a lot better. They might need a 6th try, but I mean, anything is possible in the NFL.
Anything is possible. And Todd, I actually disagree with you. I think it's very offensive that the Panther or that the Bucs viewed this as a trap game, and honestly viewed that they didn't have to come into this game totally prepared. Viewed that they didn't have to come into this game ready to rock and roll. They thought they just were going to roll the Broncos. Henry, you're right about the NFL. You can't do that in the NFL. Maybe you do that, and then you still come out with a 1-point win, but you were a 14-point favorite, and that's embarrassing on its own. You can do that when Alabama plays Louisiana State.
Can't do it when JMU plays North Carolina, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't always do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can do that in college because it's just, it's a whole different playing level. But in the NFL, you can't. But the way to fight that is to just take advantage of it if you're that team that's being overlooked and punch them in the face and never look back. And that's exactly what the Broncos did. Dominant fashion. There were many times in the game yesterday where I thought, man, this is going to be a close game. The Bucs are about to pull back, and the Broncos punched them in the face once again. So let's break this down. From the offensive standpoint, did the Broncos find the fix for their offense? Or was that just kind of a fluke yesterday? And I want to dive in and ask that question to you guys after I give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time, where the Broncos are on the road this week in West Virginia. Then they're going to MetLife Stadium to take on the Jets. Did you guys see how well Broncos Country traveled to the Bucs game yesterday?
No.
There was Go Broncos chants. At the end of the game, like the final few minutes, you could actually hear it on TV. And then there were videos taken by the Broncos, and there were thousands of fans there. let's see that support for the Broncos in MetLife Stadium this week. And if you want to get tickets, check out our friends over at Game Time, where it is the only place that I get tickets. And really, we get tickets here at DNVR because they have, one, the best interface. They've got great deals, and I love their all-in pricing, where it shows you the fees included with the ticket, so you don't have to worry about, being faked out by a price, and then you get to the end, and it's 50% more than you thought it was going to be. You see exactly where your seats are, and then they also got the Game Time guarantee, meaning if you can find a cheaper ticket that is similar to yours, they're going to give you 110% back for what you paid. So they're guaranteeing that it's the only place you need to go. And then we got 2 Broncos games coming up right after that. Plus, Avs and Nuggets season starting up soon. So Game Time's the only place you need to go to get a ticket. Use that code DNVR to get $20 off when you sign up and download the app over at Game Time. That's code DNVR over at Game Time when you download the app and use that code DNVR. Terms apply. Create that account and use the code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Game time.
And shout out to our friends over at UC Health. We're so excited to partner up with our friends at UC Health for their Ready, Set, Go challenge. It's so important to get out there, be healthy, be active, physically, mentally. And they have Coach Prime. They brought Coach Prime along to do that. He is the Chief Motivation Officer of UC Health's Ready, Set, Go challenge. The goal of the challenge is to get Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state. And one of the ways they do that is with his alter ego, Sleep Prime. Sleep Prime says when he gets 8 hours of sleep, he is so ready, set, go. And that's maybe why they were able to come back against Baylor. You know, they were getting 8 hours of sleep. Maybe Baylor was getting 6 to 5. They weren't at their healthiest state, but definitely Coach Prime understands how important sleep is. And sleep is a key part of our overall health, and we need to prioritize getting 8 quality hours a night. A lot of things happen when you sleep, from your physical well-being to your neurological benefits. It's one of the main ways to get and keep yourself healthy. If you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Go challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to www.uchealth.org/Ready, Set, Go.
Boom. Shout out to our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up to get the deals. All right, fellas, the question. Did the Broncos fix the offense yesterday?
I mean, they definitely proved that what they do can work. I think that over the first 2 games, they just couldn't hit any passes downfield, and the defense just crept up and crept up and crept up and crept up. And so the Broncos came out. I think, one of the biggest storylines I didn't even realize yesterday, because, it's tough when you're not there, but the Broncos won the coin toss and chose to receive.
Yep.
Sean wanted the offense out there first because he thought they had a chance to do what they did, which is a crazy decision to make. Nobody chooses to receive, but he was totally right. And that defense came out, and they were all squished up on the line of scrimmage. They hit him on like the little fade from the slot, and they just made downfield passes over and over again. And all of a sudden, it just opened everything up for the rest of the game. So I don't know that all the problems are gone. I mean, the running game still looks terrible. And this is... I keep forgetting they play the Panthers. Other than the Panthers, this is the worst run defense that they're probably going to see this season.
Especially without Vita Vea.
Exactly. And so without him, you got to get that cleaned up. I wouldn't say the passing game was overwhelmingly effective, but you at least showed that it can work. And eventually you just need to become more well-rounded and find, you got to find a strength at some point. But it's a good start.
There's so much to unpack there, Henry.
And
I want to start with what you said about Sean being aggressive. That's what he said about winning the coin toss and then receiving to start the game. He said he wanted to come out aggressive by doing that. That was always in the plan for him. He said, I'm like most coaches where if I win the coin toss, I'm deferring, but not today. I wanted to send a message to our team. I wanted to send a message that we're going to be aggressive. And then he did it with his very first play call, going deep, 22 yards down the field. 1 play in, they were already in Bucs territory. That's something that they did not do against the Steelers. They barely got into Pittsburgh territory in the first game, in the second game in the first half, and they did it on the very first play of this game. I think that play was so big, and just like you said, Henry, it showed the Bucs, no, you're not going to be laughing like the Steelers were after the game, knowing exactly what we're going to do, because we're going to change it up on you on the very first play, and that probably threw the Bucs off a little bit. So I love that Sean made that decision. And we talk about predictable when it comes to that's what the Broncos were the first 2 weeks. Sean changed it up before the game even started by saying, The predictable thing to do would be to defer. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be aggressive. So I love that he did that. But that's a changeup. Changeups can't always, if you continue to throw changeups, that's not going to be something that lasts and that's sustainable. So, Todd, did you see things that were sustainable?
Yeah, I saw a couple things that are sustainable. I'm interested to see how they do against better cornerbacks. I feel like sometimes those cornerbacks are just out of position and not really in good coverage. And a part of the reason, you got to give credit to wide receivers for making them look so bad, but I just didn't think their technique was very good. I did see some things that were sustainable, and there's also some things where I felt like, they got, a gift or got lucky here or there, but that happens in games. 2 safeties in one game, I mean, that happens sometimes. So I think the Broncos did a great job of executing. And then also when they made big plays on defense, the offense was able to capitalize from it. Like the first pick that we had, that turned into 7 points. That's something that we weren't doing, in prior games. So we have to continue that for sure.
Yep, exactly. And I do think Sean and Bo found a fix to the offense. And it is being a little bit more aggressive. It is using Bo's feet to benefit the offense, whether it's by design or not by design, but specifically getting Bo on the move. Now, he was tied with Tyler Badie for the most rushing attempts. They each had 9. That's not sustainable. You don't want to have him be the leading rusher in terms of attempts every game because that's just not sustainable for any quarterback. And the NFL, even a guy built like Josh Allen, you don't want him leading the team and taking that many hits. But the combination of being aggressive, then also playing to what Bo does, and that is very successful on short passes, making very quick decisions. But I think the key to all of this, I was going to say the running game, Henry, which we'll get to in a second, but I think the key to everything is the offensive line played so much better yesterday than they did in weeks 1 and 2. I was blown away by this stat, and I heard this before the game yesterday, and it just made sense of why the offense was so bad. In the first 2 weeks, when Mike McGlinchey was in there,
So you're saying it's Mike McGlinchey's fault?
Well, a little bit.
That's what I'm hearing.
Mike McGlinchey, Garrett Bowles, Quinn Miners, hold Mike McGlinchey out of this. The other 4 offensive linemen were in the bottom 5 of their position on PFF grades. Now, PFF isn't absolutely everything, but it's a good indicator sometimes of how things are going. And I believe Wattenberg was the worst center in the NFL, according to them. Quinn Miners and Ben Powers were in the bottom 5 of 65 guards in the NFL. And then Garrett Bowles, I think, was also in the bottom 5 in terms of 60 tackles that have played in the first 2 weeks in the NFL. That's a failure for absolute disaster.
Yep.
And that's what we saw in week 2. It was absolute disaster on offense. It wasn't much better in week 1. And then we saw, to put Mike McGlinchey in here, he was actually average. I think he graded out around 30th out of 60 tackles. So credit to Mike for, according to PFF, was the best player in the first 2 games along the offensive line. But this offensive line, I don't know how they graded out with PFF, but I guarantee you they were all so much better yesterday, and that helped Bo kept him upright. 0 sacks on the day, wasn't pressured that much, but then it also helped the running game at the end of the game, specifically when they were able to put the game away. That's the key. So I do think that they found the formula to success, but I think the key is if the offensive line can play good enough, and that's what they did yesterday. And we saw Bo. He didn't look like a rookie to me yesterday, but he did look like a rookie when he had 0 help around him.
Yeah, I think they looked really good yesterday. The offensive line played much better. I do think that the front that they faced was not as good as the first 2 weeks. But nevertheless, they had to show up and they had to bring it. So that if they can continue to do that, I think the Broncos are going to be successful. You live and die by how well your offensive line does. If they're trash or they can't get the job done, Bo's going to be under pressure. We're not going to have a running game. It's going to be a long season. So big boys up front. They really need to continue what they're doing, step up, and make plays because that's how we're going to be successful for the long haul.
Hey, do you think yesterday is a fluke of how the offensive line played, or do you think it's more so how they're going to play the rest of the season?
I think when they play a team like the Buccaneers, that's how they're going to play. The thing is,
there's only one other team like the Bucs, and that's the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean that's the tough part though. Is the Jets. I don't even know what's up with their pass rush. Like Hassan Reddick still doesn't exist, right?
No, he
so
does
like
not.
you're probably going to be just fine there.
I don't know.
I mean, you got some
man.
tough guys in the
Quentin
middle.
Williams, Will McDonald looks good.
Yeah, Will McDonald. I mean, it's
They
not
have
like
more
the next
dudes.
week when you're playing Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
That's one where, again, I don't look at yesterday and say, oh, that's going to be fine. I think that they handled business against a not very good pass rush. I mean,
It's fair.
they just don't really have the guys to compete, and the Broncos should go out and dominate them. So that's awesome.
The guys, and I know you're talking about the Bucs don't have the guys to compete.
Yeah.
The Broncos should have the guys to compete on the offensive line.
Yep.
They're paying the bill like they have the guys to compete. So that's why now this is hope. It's not a guarantee. You hope that they're able to build off of yesterday because they should have the talent. They should have the potential. You're paying the bill to all of them except for Paucho at right tackle and center, but you're paying it to right guard. You're paying it to left guard. You're paying it to left tackle to be those guys. So I really think that they should be able to build off of this. And it's not just hope that doesn't have any backing to it. There is backing to that, but they have to play like that because they didn't the first 2 weeks.
And I thought in the first 2 weeks, the first week in particular, the problem was more just setting the protections. I think obviously you get some pressure because guys just get beat, but at least half of the pressures that Bo faced were just because nobody was assigned to block a blitzer, and all of a sudden there's just somebody coming free. So I think that's more schematic. And Bo needs to be able to figure out who's blitzing, or Luke Wattenberg does, or whoever's going to be making those calls. I just thought, again, it's a pretty vanilla defense, and it makes sense that you carve up a vanilla defense that I think was kind of comparable to, not talent-wise, but what the Packers did in that third preseason game, where you kind of just know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Overall, throughout the game, I think my favorite pass was one that wasn't even counted, and that was a pass to
Troy Franklin.
Yep. Overall, I felt like that was one of the Bo's best moves, getting out of the pocket, making the pass downfield. And just as far as the route concept, he was completely wide open. I mean, if he hits him one step earlier, he might be able to stay in bounds and get vertical. I thought that the scheme on that play alone was probably one of the best schemes the Broncos had all day. Kind of like the double overlook. You pull the two safeties out, and then there's just void on the right side of the field. So they can continue to do things like that. I think that's how they win games.
I love that. I love picking that play out. Now, how concerned are we with the Broncos running offense right now? In the first half, it looked like the first two games. Bo Nix was your leading rusher at halftime. Jaleel and Javonte had, I think, 21 combined rushing yards in the first half, which is obviously not good. They were averaging 3.3 yards per carry, and that was with Bo having 4.5 yards per carry. Then in the second, they had 46 rushing yards at halftime. In the second half, they go for an additional 90, so that's when they really picked it up for the first time all season. Are you more encouraged by the second half or concerned by the first, 10 quarters of the season?
I'm definitely way more concerned. I mean, I don't even get too fired up looking at that second half. Like, it was nice that Tyler Badie broke that long run.
The day.
Tyler broke the run. I can't wait to just hear what he has to say. But I don't think that I didn't see enough there to say, like, oh, yep, all the problems are fixed. Because, again, on the other carries, he was just under 4 yards per carry. And you can't just ignore that he had the big one. But when we've seen 12 quarters of football now, there's a whole bunch of evidence that would make you think that this running game doesn't work at all. And the fact that, again, you look at the numbers yesterday, they still weren't all that good for the running backs. And you're going up against a Buccaneers front seven that just isn't. I mean, without Vita Vea, they're not good. They're bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very true. And Henry, that's why I'm concerned as well. And again, this can't all be on Bo Nix's shoulders.
Yeah.
He can't be the one that's asked to lead the team in rushing while also controlling everything in the passing game. And he did a great job distributing the ball. But I really think the pass game was Sean and him. Now, we had Court step up, but it's not like Court went for 120 and was making insane catches like he did last year. Pretty routine catches. Credit to him. He was making them. But, all the passing game was on Bo's shoulders. And then for the first 3 quarters, the run game was on Bo's shoulders as well until Tyler broke the 40-yard run in the fourth quarter. Bo was still your leading rusher, so I am concerned with that. But for Broncos fans, you can hope that Tyler's the answer for you because so far the first, 12 quarters, Jaleel and Javonte have just been so underwhelming. You can have 3 bad games in a row, and that doesn't define you, so I'm not saying it defines them, but it is very concerning from those 3 perspective, those 2 guys' perspective, how they've been running the ball.
Yeah, they haven't been running it to the level or the standard that we know that they're capable of. I think no matter what, for this team to be successful, it's going to take, one of those three guys being elite or making guys miss. Because if you look at the play even that Tyler had, the guy overruns his gap. They're technically gapped out. He overruns his gap. Badie makes a move, and then he tries to tackle him with one arm, and he makes a miss. So I think that's going to be the recipe to success. They have to make people miss. I don't know if they're just going to be holes wide open where they'll be able to get 15 or 20 yards and be untouched. I think that throughout the course of the season, they're going to have to make one or two guys miss to be able to break long runs like that. So they're just going to have to be special the rest of the way.
And as exciting as Tyler was, you're just not going to get better running the ball unless the offensive line plays much, much, much better. Like once you have 3 really bad games in a row, it starts to get concerning. And that's where I don't know. Hopefully they figure it out.
Well, this is 2 and a good.
Two and a good. We're calling it good yesterday.
Yeah.
Good in pass protection, run blocking. Yeah.
And what kind of scared me a little bit today, we had a very early Zoom call with Sean Payton, and I asked him what allowed the Broncos offense to have success running the ball in the second half, and he said, well, Bo Nix really opened it up with his feet. And I'm like, oh man, that's just adding even more pressure and putting even more on Bo's plate. Bo in the first half had 21 rushing yards. In the second half, he had 26 rushing yards, a better yards per carry average for Bo because he only ran the ball 4 times in the second half compared to 5 times in the first half. So he was better in the second half, but Sean kind of giving him the credit and his legs the credit for opening it up for Tyler and the other running backs. Again, he's still a rookie. He's only played 3 games. I just don't want to put too much on him. But that's kind of why I'm encouraged, is I think Bo did even more than I originally realized yesterday. And he was responsible for so many of the checks at the line, for distributing the ball so well. Sean definitely helped him out. It was by far the best game he's called this season for Bo. But then Bo also helped the offensive line out and then helped the running game out. So extremely encouraged with the way Bo is playing. And the first 2 games were his first 2 games in the NFL. I love to see that he did not turn the ball over yesterday. That's a huge step in the right direction, too.
Yeah, and when you're the guy, I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, a lot is on your plate. You look at Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, like, however they play is how the whole team is going to go. You know, sometimes Lamar Jackson is going to have to rush for more yards than a running back. Sometimes he is going to have to create on the run. When you're the guy, like, that's what we need from you. You got to do whatever the team needs to get the job done. And at quarterback, sometimes it's a tough ask, but I think Bo's showing that he's capable. He just has to continue to do it.
And if anything, they should be running him more still. I think we finally saw a couple of those read options. And we'd seen 1 or 2, I guess, before that. But there's no reason to me to not be running those 5, 6, maybe even more times per game, especially given how much it seems like they should be playing out of the shotgun at this point and not under center. Just why not add that to your running game just because it worked so well?
Yep, very true. All right, let's dive into the inside scoop after I give a shout out to our friends over at Z Biotics. Henry, you're the young spry one on this set right now.
Really?
Have you noticed that it's harder to bounce back after a night of drinking yet? Or are you still young and spry enough? You have noticed that?
Yes. No, last night I had a margarita.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here?
No, not here.
Oh.
At a different establishment near where I live.
That's allowed.
Yeah, but then even before I went to bed, I was like, why did I do that? Like, I feel my body's all hot. Like, it just, it's not a good idea. Oh, yeah.
Well, you should have tried Z Biotics.
I should have.
Because that is the pre-alcoholic probiotic drink that is helping the world. And it was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. And here's how it works. When you drink, the alcohol is converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotic your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly. and you'll feel your best tomorrow. So make sure to check them out. And if you use the code DNVR Broncos over at zbiotics.com/DNVR Broncos, you're going to learn more and get 15% off your first order by using the code DNVR Broncos over at zbiotics.com/DNVR Broncos. Then use that code at checkout. That's DNVR Broncos. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund you your money. No questions asked. Make sure to check them out over at zbiotics.com/DNVR Broncos.
And check out Bet365. I saw somebody in chat, Chris, just said he had a parlay at the Broncos, Giants, Vikings, and Panthers. Hit big.
Oh, my gosh.
That's awesome. I'm trying to find it. Giants plus 6.5, under 36. Then Vikings or under 36 and Chargers, Steelers. Vikings and Packers both to win as underdogs yesterday. Plus 2,400. That was a nice one.
Dang.
Yeah, which is a great day. And then you throw in the Broncos money line too. I was the only one here who had any faith in them. And it was a pretty great day.
You're the only one intimidated by the locker
I'm
room.
not intimidated by anybody. You think? No, nobody intimidates me. Bet365 is awesome. Makes watching football a lot of fun. I'm excited tonight. I made a bunch of money when the Patriots beat the Bengals in week 1. I think I'm going to be betting against the Bengals again tonight. I'm not totally convinced because part of me thinks I should just be happy that I hit that once with all my Bengals hate. We'll see.
What's the line?
I can't even remember.
It's probably got to be around 6, right?
I think so. So betting is a lot of fun. And if you want to join us, you can use the code DNVR365. When you sign up, you can get one of 2 offers. You get to choose. Either you bet $5 and you get $200 in bonus bets, or you get a first bet safety net offer. You place the bet to $1,000. If the qualifying bet loses, you get a matched refund in bonus bets. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
And shout out to Bet365 for being our presenting sponsor. And
Yes.
shout out to Broncos coach Todd Davis, who's diving into the film on the Inside Scoop to break down how the Broncos won the game.
All right, let's do it. I think, you might as well start off with the first play of the game because I think this really set the tempo for the day. And I think this was, Sean Payton just dialing up the right calls for the right defenses. I mean, the first play of the game, they're in cover 3. You got a safety rotation weak. And how do you attack cover 3? You hit these overs and you hit comebacks and you allow your big wide receivers to get open, create space, and that's exactly what they do. So they run the over by Greg Dulcich. Linebacker sees it. You're hoping he doesn't, but he sees it. He takes it, good coverage. And then you got Courtland Sutton one-on-one. He's able to get to the top of his route. Before I go there, look at this clean pocket, man. I mean, Bo has all day to throw this ball. He's not under any pressure. He's not under duress. I think this was great blocking by the offensive lineman. And we talked about it. This was the best game they played, and you see it time and time again, clean pockets for Bo. And I think when he has a clean pocket, he's able to execute really well.
Look at Paucho out there just taking
one-on-one.
care of his guy.
A
Yeah.
one-on-one. But Courtland's able to create space. He's a big body receiver. He's great on comebacks, goals, hitches, anything where he can get his body in front of the man or go up top above the defender. I think that's where Courtland is at his best. And this was, a great way to start the playoff. We end up in Bucs territory after the first play. This is exactly how you want to start the game.
And, I mean, you show up. Like, the defense first play is just showing you the most obvious cover 3. Like, there's no secret what they're doing there.
Exactly.
And for Bo to be able to just play one, know exactly what the defense is going to do, that makes this job so much easier. You combine that with good protection, and it's a great play.
Yeah, he doesn't have to think. He doesn't have to guess. He knows what he's seeing, and he can execute. All right, let's go to the next play. This is still on the first drive. And what you see right here is just, you need players to be elite. And right here, this is Josh Reynolds just winning a one-on-one block. Right now, we have a 5-man pressure. So you have the safety blitzing off this side, and you have these linebackers who are man-to-man, and they're going to end up adding to their coverage. But even with these safety coming, these linebackers eventually adding to their coverage, Bo is sitting back there chilling, man. The offensive line did a great job, and I mean, they're not even getting much push. I mean, this is 1 yard off the line of scrimmage, and they're holding their blocks really well. And Josh Reynolds is able to beat his man one-on-one. And what you also see is there's another person beating their man, Lil Jordan Humbly beating their man one-on-one. You're on the ground, big man. You need to get up. But that's the way the Broncos were playing yesterday, and I think that's why they were so successful, because if Josh Reynolds gets locked down here, it's only a matter of time before this blitz does come free. They don't have enough people to block it. But because Josh Reynolds says, I'm elite and you're not, he's able to make this play, get on top of his cornerback, and then create a big play for the offense. And I think that's just good football.
Yep. And there's so many times where you say, like, oh, why didn't anybody get open? Good teams get multiple people open. It's not just one guy wins his one-on-one. You get options for the quarterback. And they finally did that.
Exactly. You go through your progression. I mean, if everybody's open on your progression, you're going to have a good down. If everybody's locked up, it's going to end up in a sack or a pick or you make a bad choice. So it's important to get multiple guys open on multiple plays. All right, this is a good play for me because, I love defense. I love breaking down defense. This right here is Brandon Jones' pick, and I honestly feel like this down was won before the play even started. So what you have right here is the biggest matchup of the day was Pastor 10 on Mike Evans. So he's inside, lined up, and you see everybody. You see a body on the body. So what do you think they're wearing? Everybody thinks we're in man.
Yep.
And we're absolutely not in man. We actually go to cover 2. So Pat goes to vertical curl. He's in this vertical curl. He's the spy player. You got J-Mac opening to be the middle run player. You got the curl fat player here, and you got the safety over the top. So just off of alignment and assignment, Baker is already confused because you have Nick Bonito showing like he's blitzing, and you think, okay, this is going to be a run-on-one against the guard. I'm going to have to get the ball out quick. Wait, no, he's dropping. Everybody else is in man. Wait, no, they're not. They're all playing cover 2. And so before you know it, Brandon Jones is over the top. The corner does a great job of sinking underneath. And that's why he's able to come over the top and make this play. You see the middle runner in the field, protecting the middle in between the hashes. But I think this play was won by Vance Joseph calling the perfect play and the perfect disguise for what they're throwing at the Broncos right here. And that ended up being a great play for the defense. You got to follow your blockers, man. You got to get to the end zone when you get this opportunity. But I thought he did a great job, making this play, because a lot of guys get there and they drop it or, it tips off their hands and, I'm saying, you're slapping your helmet because you should have made that. Biggest thing is he made the play.
Well, Todd, this morning we talked to Brandon Jones, and he was frustrated himself because he said so many teammates said, man, if you just would have followed your blocks and literally ran straight, you would have ran right into the end zone. And he said, when I get the ball in my hands, I just turn into a kid playing backyard football, and I go left and right, and I tired myself out. So you were spot on with this yesterday. You were like, just go straight. What are you doing?
Yeah, but it's tough. I mean, once you get the ball in, I've done it, a couple of times. But you just start looking for green guys. I think you get like tunnel vision because of how much you don't get the ball as a defender. You get you get tunnel vision on the end zone, and you forget to line up your blocker sometimes. But he had a good return. He returned to 30 yards, so it was a good return.
Wait, so really quick, Todd, when did Baker, do you think, realize oh no, this isn't what I thought? Is it right after the ball snapped? Is it once he's throwing the ball? Is it once Brandon Jones picks it off?
I think it's when he gets to probably this stage right here. That's when he's
exactly.
Oh, totally shoot.
Oh, no.
The thing is, on the throw, he leads him upfield.
Yeah.
He sees the corner's back is turned, and so he's like, yep, just lob this one upfield.
And you got a half-field safety just waiting for you to throw it. Yeah.
And again, you compare that to the first play you showed with Bo. You line up in cover 3. Bo's played a cover 3 defense 1,000 times in his career. This is just so different. Baker's job is just much harder when this happens.
Exactly. So that was one example of the defensive coordinator putting together the perfect play call for what the offense is running and then the guys executing it. This right here is another example. Sometimes the offense gets you. Sometimes they get you in exactly what they want you to be in, but great players find ways to make great plays. This play starts off with Riley Moss going in motion, man-to-man. And what they want to do is they want to create traffic here. They know everybody's in man-to-man. So you got 4 bodies that they're trying to make Riley Moss have to get through to cover his man. So they want you in man-to-man. They want to create this bunch, and they want there to be traffic. But Riley Moss does a good job, and these 2 DBs do a good job of being on levels. They're not stacked on top of each other, so Riley Moss can't find a lane to get through. Everybody's on different levels, so Riley Moss can skate right through, and he's able to get to the body of the man and make a great play and a great PBU on 3rd and 7. And that's why some players just make great plays. They could get us in the right defense that they want us in. Right here, we should probably be in a zone, cover 3, be able to pass off all these routes. But nevertheless, we're in man. They run a man beater, and we get to where we need to, and we make a great play right here on 3rd and 7, get off the field.
Yep.
Wait, where? Go back one. Where's the receiver?
He's covered.
By
That's
Moss?
called clamped.
He
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
He
He's,
is.
he's somewhere over
I
here
kid you
getting
not.
locked
He is
down.
so covered. You
He is
can't even
very
see
covered.
him. All you see is Riley.
Yeah, he's locked down, baby.
Yep. Riley's not getting enough hype right now.
Agreed.
He's
Like,
playing
I'm-
well, man.
Exactly. Like, it's too early to say he's going to be like a Pro Bowl corner or anything like that. But through 3 weeks, he certainly looks like a starter. And the fact that these are his first 3 games are pretty crazy.
And against really good wide receivers, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a relief, too, because it felt like for a minute the Broncos are just never going to find a second corner that can play opposite Pat Surtain his entire career, and it's just going to kind of be rotating the Levi Wallaces of the world. The Broncos have brought in a lot of those guys over the past few years. If they really get another guy that can be here for a second contract that you're paying, and you have Riley and Pat, what a huge help for Vance, but also a huge help for the personnel department to just not have to worry about finding a number 2. This would be huge, and I agree with you, Henry. He's playing like he is going to be that guy for a long time.
Yeah, if he keeps playing like this, he'll make the Pro Bowl without a doubt.
Yep.
And that'll be crazy for the Broncos to have 2 Pro Bowl corners.
It's been 6 years.
It's been a while.
I think you
Been
go
a
back
while.
to Jason Seymour, honestly.
I think you're thinking about something else. Also got the name wrong, but that's no big deal.
Oh, wait, who? It's
Seahorn.
Seymour. Yes, thank you.
All right, right here, this is the Broncos getting after Baker, which they did a lot. Right here, you have Brandon Jones coming on a safety blitz. You got Nick Bonito. He's on the blitz. He's not just, you know what I'm saying, coming on a safety blitz. And you got the Broncos are just hunting. They did a great job of getting after the quarterback. You see Brandon Jones beating his man one-on-one. JFM ends up getting the sack. But I want you to see how many bodies are on the quarterback when the sack is made. I mean, there was 5 rushers and only 1 guy standing up. That means 4 bodies on top of Baker Mayfield right here. That's just a good job of hunting. When you get your one-on-one matchups, you see guys winning, and up front, JFM winning. It's a great job by the defense of beating guys one-on-one, because in the league, it's all about matchups, and that's what the defense did right here.
I love that.
Yep.
And if we're talking about sacks, why not bring up another one? Here's a different blitz. Right now, you have the nickel blitz. You bring in J Mack, and you bring in Cody Barton, and this is a 6-man pressure. 5-man pressure, but nevertheless, they're able to get home once again. This is Tillman being strong on the outside. You got guys winning inside. J Mack ends up coming free because the coverage is so good downfield. Baker has outlets right here, but it's so much pressure on him, he's not able to see him. So Tillman and J Mack did a great job of getting him to the ground, and the Broncos are doing a great job of winning one-on-one blocks and getting home, and that's most important. They had 7 sacks yesterday.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal game by the defense of affecting the quarterback. All those hits add up, man. Like, even if you start the game off, you're feeling fresh. By the time you get hit 3 or 4 times, you don't want to hold the ball. You don't want to throw it deep. All that affects the quarterback. So that really, really helped the Broncos yesterday.
Do you know when the last time the Broncos had more than 7 sacks in a game was?
Nope.
Super Bowl 50 defense at some point?
Nope, they never did.
Wow.
It was 1996.
7-sack game?
8-sack game.
Oh.
There was a 7-sack game in 2015. I think there was one in 2021 also.
Dang, that is dominant. That's
Yep.
historic right there. Great stat, Henry.
Well, and Sean gave credit to the coverage too, and said like it was the fact that everybody was covered for
Yep.
so long downfield that they were able to get all those. I mean, maybe not all of them, but a bunch of them.
One other thing that Sean said after the game was he gave a lot of credit to the Broncos for just when it seemed like momentum was shifting to the Bucs. The couple of times that happened, the Broncos punched right back. That was one of those times, so I'm really happy you highlighted that play, Todd. That was about 8 minutes left in the third quarter. The Bucs are in Broncos territory, driving. This is when we had the conversation when we were all watching the game last night. Like, man, if they get a touchdown, are the Bucs going to be favored for like live betting at that point? And we all agreed, like, probably 20-14, the Bucs will have momentum, and the Broncos, that sack was huge because it put them at 2nd and long, or maybe even 3rd and long, but then it also put them back on their side of the field. They punt the ball, and then the Broncos offense has that 8-minute drive just to squeeze the life out of the Bucs. So it was really complimentary offense and defense there too.
Yeah, offense and defense were playing together. They were playing, like you said yesterday, it was a true team win, and you see it when you watch the film.
You're not mentioning special teams?
Yeah,
You're
Marvin
a
Mims, I thought he
special teams
played
hater?
great.
You're
Huh?
saying offense and
I
defense.
said
You-
great team win. The
Okay.
team
Before
is
that, you
everybody.
said
You know what I'm
offense,
saying?
you said
no, Marvin
defense.
had a great return, you know what I'm saying, to get the offense started. I see Marvin, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. All right, now we got, this is once again just good defensive play. They get 3 or 4 yards on this, but I just want you guys to watch how many hats are to the ball. So we got split slash, just a normal concept run by every offense in the league. There's actually a little gap right here. There's a hole to be made. Alex is getting over the top. Riley's there, but watch when this play happens, and they're tackling the running back right here. Look how many bodies are on the runner. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 out of 11 guys tackling the one runner. That's when everybody's hunting, everybody's playing with a lot of energy, and they're playing aggressive. And I think anytime the Broncos can play like this, they're going to be successful. Because let's just say one guy misses a tackle. Okay, there's 4 more to make up for him.
Yep.
And that's what we didn't have in the times where the Seahawks were breaking those long runs. It was one missed tackle, he was gone. When you gang tackle, it's not much you can do to get away from these Broncos.
And there was one play later in the game. I think it was a run for Bucky Irving where he gets Alex one-on-one and Alex can't bring him down. And as Alex goes down, his legs like trip up Zach Allen. But there's still so many people there. There was only like a gain of 2 yards after you took the 2 nearest defenders out of the play.
Yeah, they were hunting, man. They had a good – it was humid, it was hot, and it didn't even phase the Broncos.
Yep.
Right here, this is probably one of my favorite plays of the game. This is short yardage one-on-one. When you're in the NFL and you're getting 4th and 1 or you're on the goal line, this is one of the plays that you're always ready for as a defense or trying to be prepared for. You got the dive with the pitch. And actually, this guy right here does a great job of recognizing the play. He sees Jaleel get out and the pitch, so he's in good position to stop this play on 4th and goal. This is the pivotal play for the Broncos offense. This is right after the pick. So if we get points here, it really changes the game. And Jaleel just says, excuse me, big man, you're not fast enough to hang with me. And he puts his man on skates and makes him touch the floor. No grown man should be in a 4-point stance on a football field unless you're rushing the passer. And so he just makes this guy look silly, ends up getting around the edge and gets a touchdown. This was a great play. Just Jaleel being able to win his one-on-one matchup. And, this was what I saw the entire game for the Broncos, that the Broncos were just saying, we're better than you one-on-one. We're going to win these one-on-one matchups, and you guys aren't going to be able to beat us. And that's exactly what happened on this play.
I can't believe he got the edge there.
Oh, I know.
Like, that should not, even after you shake the guy,
Yeah.
that does not look like a touchdown.
No.
It is, baby.
No,
It
it is. And this is complimentary football, too, because honestly, with how the Bucs played this, that was a bad play call. Like, that should have been not just a stop, but it should have been a loss of 6. And the team kind of bails out the coach there. So, I mean, that's complimentary football. I think Sean called a fantastic game. This is maybe the only play call that I did not like, and Jaleel bailed him out there. And what an incredible screenshot to get the guy bent over like that.
On all fours,
Honestly.
yeah. I mean, this is it happening on offense. We saw Riley Moss do it on defense.
Yeah.
Because easily he could have got the first down. The Bucs wide receiver could have got the first down, and we wouldn't have blamed Riley because he had to fight through some traffic to get there. Easily, Jaleel could have got tackled right here and then been like, dang, that probably wasn't the best play call. But great players, make up for bad play calls, and they're able to get into the end zone.
I love it, and I love the breakdown. That's the Inside Scoop brought to you by the one and only Todd Davis. And speaking of what we're brought to you by Bet365, our presenting sponsor. Use that code DNVR365. And before we hop into Super Chats, a lot of people tuning in, a lot of questions. I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Premier Members Credit Union. And most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And if you're one of them, you got to check out Premier Members Credit Union. They're a financial institution based right here in Colorado. With PMCU, you get local branches, friendly tellers, and the tools you need to save smarter, like a reverse tier money market. It's the account you need to get ahead and stay ahead in this economy. This is an organization that serves the community and the Colorado community in particular. Whatever your goals, they can help. PMCU is all about creating a better banking experience for their community. So why not see what they can do for you? Check out becomepremier.com to learn more. That's becomepremier.com to learn more.
Also, check out our tailgates.
Yes.
If you guys are coming to a game here in Denver, you should definitely swing by. Our tailgates are awesome. They're in a cool spot, first of all. It's not technically like a Broncos lot, but it's like right next to one, so you get like this awesome view of the stadium, and then it's only like a 5-minute walk to the gate. I should say it's at the Sports Fan at 18th and Federal, just back there. If you want to get tickets, you can go to thednvr.com/events. If you want, you can sign up to take the bus from the bar to the tailgate. But then once you get there, it's a party. We've got Primo Hoagies, got Breckenridge Beers, we got Breck Distillery. What do you call spirits? I've never used the word in that way. Why do they call those spirits?
No idea, because it brings out good
You drink
spirits in
enough, you'll
everyone.
see some spirits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. When I hear spirits, I think ghosts. But yeah, if you're into spirits, come there.
type
We've
of
got
spirits?
spirits. They've got the games. You got all that sort of stuff. And you can even get season passes if you're interested. So there's a whole bunch of events. Those are the ones that we're putting on right now at thednvr.com/events. You can check out our calendar or follow us on social at DNVR_sports.
Even Blake chimes in and says, tailgates are great. And we had
Yes.
someone asking if we're doing a tailgate for the Raiders home game. Of course we are. We're doing a tailgate for every single game that the Broncos have here in Denver. And we like to do some on the road, but we definitely do them all in Denver. All right,
Real quick. I know why they're called spirits. It's because of how it's processed. The distillation, it's through the vapor process. So it's like the spirit of whatever you're doing. So
Go
that's
through
why it
ghosts.
also comes from the
Wow.
Latin word, which also means breathe life into. So that's why they're called spirits.
Oh, wow, that was very educational. But you hear the
Wow.
science was way less fun than what we were coming up with. All right, let's hop into the super chats. First one coming in from our friend Jake, who says, had to have been the Dickel defense scheme. Is that right, Todd?
I don't know. That's a great game plan.
It was the Dickel down defense that did it for him. Douglas McClure says, awesome one. You know, it was like the trickle down defense, but when you're talking about defense, it's the Dickel down, and it started from Vance Joseph. By the way, shout out to Vance. Well, we're gonna get some love for Vance in the super chats in 1 second, so I'll save that. But Douglas McClure comes in and says, awesome win, great test for Nix against Jets secondary next week. Just curious, by the way, which quarterback is running scout team during practice, Stidham or Zach Wilson?
We certainly can't report on it. We hardly get to see it.
My guess is my guess is probably Zach. We can speculate
I would
since we don't
imagine.
really get to watch
That's
it, but
true.
I guess if they had more of a traditional quarterback, then it would be Stidham. They could use Stidham, but Zach can pretty much cover for all of them.
Yeah, now
what
that
I
I think of
think.
it, we don't even get like full scout team. We get like the early little walkthrough portion, then we have to leave. And we
Yeah.
certainly cannot say that.
It's very true. They're just trying to get us in trouble, Henry.
They are trying to get us in trouble. I will say though, so they do like player of the weeks, but only on the weeks they win.
Yeah.
So it'll be like 2 or 3 typically from the offense and defense. There'll also be like occasionally a couple scout team. So maybe you get a scout team quarterback there, and then we could say.
I like that. Not this week since they're not in the building, but
No.
soon. The Blind Swordsman says, I don't know if the offense is 100% fixed. I do know, y'all, that wanting the Vance Joseph crowd to be fired can be quiet down.
Yep. Can hush all that noise, right?
Yeah.
It's the opposite now. It's like, man, are the Broncos not going to have Vance after this season because he gets a head coaching job somewhere? If his defense continues to play like this, we're going to be talking about that. And that's a great place to be. You want guys to be taken away from your staff. And you want free agents from your team to sign with other places and be lost on your team because it means you actually had good guys in your building.
Yeah, squad. Yep.
Broncos haven't had that very much recently. Chris Peters says, made a parlay with the Broncos, Giants, Vikings, and Panthers. Hit big and wanted to share with the DNVR crew, so he hit us with a very generous super chat. Thank you so much. That is very nice. And boy, what a parlay to hit.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
Panthers and Broncos in there. Whew. And then Triple G is rounding us out, who says, gotta give Henry credit.
No,
Great
no.
prediction.
I did it.
No.
Good prediction,
I
Henry.
did it.
Todd,
wonder how
Todd
the
tried to
standings
share the
looking.
backstory with everyone to
Everybody
say,
needs to know. You
to
know
say
what
that
I'm
it
saying?
was a good prediction. You picked the win.
It was a great
I'm proud
prediction.
of you. You were just not given a
Coerced.
choice. Yeah,
Wasn't
exactly.
coerced. I pandered.
You were like thrown into a locker and said like
I was
you're gonna
not
do
thrown
this.
into a locker. Although Alex does have a second locker now.
He does.
He
Big
took
time.
he took Russ's locker.
2 lockers in the NFL, like you're big time. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? 1 locker, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You might be a starter, you're young. If you get 2 lockers, 1 to hold like everything that fans send you to sign and like
Yep.
jerseys and posters, and the other
Yeah.
one that you actually use, like that's how you know.
yeah.
You're
2
big
weeks
time.
ago, he had to do like the CBS broadcast interview after practice, so I had to take his helmet in there for him. hang it up in his
You
locker.
just be like whoosh, whooping
I
you
know.
left and right.
Hopefully
This is crazy.
55-0, he's in a good mood now, but damn.
I know he's happy that you picked that. And we have one final super chat that just slid in, coming in from Kyle, who says, "What is your confidence that this victory was more about our performance rather than the Bucs not showing up?" I think, I mean, obviously both, but I think it's more about the Broncos because of how much they whooped them. If the Broncos would have won 13-12 and the Bucs didn't show up, it's like, okay, maybe it's more about the Bucs. But the Broncos took care of business. 26-7, a 19-point win in the NFL. That's about you.
100%, and they made the plays happen. Like that play on the goal line, that's just a little making it happen. He's willing that to happen. Nobody gave that to him, and the Bucs showed up for that play, and they just weren't good enough.
Boom.
I still think 90% of the credit goes to the defense. They just stomped them.
They did. 7 points to that. What was a great offense. And speaking of great, it's been a great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit us with a thumbs up on the way out. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m.
We all silly like the mayor.